All righty. Welcome all. This is our first of two, typically 9th, 11th grade meetings I do. I historically do them right before the school year starts. There'll be others joining along the way, but I'm so glad you're here today. I totally redid the meeting from any other year I did it before because there's so much happening very, very quickly in your world out there. I'll go ahead and record the MP3 now. Okay. All right, let's go ahead. Let's say hello to Sister Marshall. How are you doing? So Marshall, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you.
All right, wonderful. And I think Sister Dawn here, my old buddy.
Hi, good evening. I'm good. Thank you, Deacon.
Good, good. We're connected with you real good. And Davin, are you there?
Yes, I am. I'm here.
I'm so impressed you're here. You added to our class and everything being here. How's that? And,
it's perfect. Thank you.
Wonderful. Sister Tillahan, I probably said it wrong. Why don't you help me out? How do I say it?
Tillahan.
Tillahan. Oh, his brother?
Yeah. How are you, sir?
Oh, yeah, I know you.
Yeah.
It's been a while, man.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah.
That's my old buddy, guys.
Okay.
So good having you here. I think you'll get some good information here. Why don't you and I check in later this week? Can we get on the phone or something? See how your boys are. Okay, I think you have a young lady too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember all that. I want you to catch me up, okay?
Okay.
All right, let's go ahead and get started, y'all. Oops, I'm ready to get started. I didn't even put the file out there. Hold on. Stand by. I need to go get it. It'll be helpful if just give me 1 second, everyone. It's here. I just never opened it. Okay. Close this. Okay. Got quite a bit of information to cover, so I better get going right away with it. Let me get rid of the meeting controls. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is our 9th, 11th grade parent session for back to school. Today's meeting, I'm going to talk about what's going on in your students' classroom and how do you find out. What are these alternative school options? What about a very expensive private high school? LA Unified enrollment, should my students stay in this current school? What are the best alternative school options? And thinking ahead to college and career, I thought that would be a short area, but I think I gave you a little more information. You'll have the presentation. It's in the chat. You can click on the link, put it on your screen. You can hang on to it. If after the meeting you want another copy, it's fine. I have a couple of links that are built into it, so you might want to get this particular presentation for sure. Okay, let me close that up. Okay, let's see what else we're going to cover here today. We're going to talk about thinking ahead to college. All right, so let's talk about that. What is happening in public and some private school classrooms? There's some things happening that I noticed that LA Unified is doing, and Long Beach Unified, and Inglewood, Compton, all over. Even private schools are doing things in the classroom in terms of content and not telling you what's happening as a parent or misleading you. I did a couple of videos this week already about it on our YouTube channel, which I hope you eventually will become a subscriber. And we'll be doing a lot more. And I'm putting a little pressure on LAUSD because I pulled out of an event they wanted me to speak at over the issue of informing you as parents. Now, it will appear to you like it's a content issue, but it really is it is a content issue. I'm not going to lie to you. But it's also that I think you need to be informed of what's going on when it's something major with your students, like we did in the old days when we were in school. Content is changing due to societal and, yes, political pressure. We have a lot more critical race theory, which I have several videos on. That's when we talk about oppressed being blacks and browns and oppressors being white, by the lady named D'Angelo, her famous book, and also Ibram X. Kendi. You can look it up. There's a great book by Vodi Bakum, if you're interested in reading it, which is a church rebuttal to it. I have great concerns with critical race theory. And remember, I don't have a trouble teaching history, Black history. That's okay. We need to teach that. We need to teach some of the good and the bad of American history. But this is a whole race theory that goes across several classes your students will be taking. It's a big part of the curriculum in LA Unified this year. It was already last year. Then the concept of whiteness behaviors like punctuality, objectivity, those are all viewed as part of, unbelievably, as part of whiteness. Then, of course, equity math. We've done a lot of work with the math framework. We're one of the people that's signing the different initiatives to hold up the change in the math framework. It's going to hold back our Black and brown students who are good in math, who are going to do STEM and have careers. They're being held from getting advanced courses, and just because they want everybody to have the same outcome in their math. And also they're teaching math in the classroom. 20% of the class in some cases are going to be about a thing called math equity. And that's bringing race and social justice into the math class. And you know I have a problem with that, being an ex-engineer. Then there's critical gender theory. Gender is not binary. Male and female are definitely not the only gender. Your students are being encouraged to embrace their true gender. And I want you to see my video. I have a list of the videos that I'd like you to look at. I thought I included it here. Maybe I didn't. But there's a series of 3-part video which talks about what they're teaching about gender. And again, it's all the political stuff you hear. You can't look at the media, parents. You've got to look for yourself. I think I make the point that it's important that you address these things in your house if you're going to keep them in the public schools. More and more of this stuff is in the curriculum. You need to talk to your students about what's being covered. It's very timely that I'm doing this right as school is starting. And of course, there's gender equity and inclusion. I think the LAUSD, they're calling it a queer all year curriculum. They have a calendar of activities. I've had teachers come to me. The reason why I found out about it, I had teachers come to me and say they're being directed to teach it, and some of them don't have tenure yet, so they have to. The ones that do, even one called me and said, what should they do? It's a tough decision, but not for me. I mean, it's not. I mean, if you were in a mall and your children came and told you someone was teaching them about their sexuality and their gender, and you were not present, I think you'd call the police. And this is not appropriate. I think there's something should remain in the home. So I thought I would let you know that that's going on right now. It's very important that you understand that. Let's see, I better make good old Christina my host here.
Co-host. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I'm scared somebody will come and I won't notice. I think you'll get to see when they come in, right? When you're a co-host?
Yes, once you put me as co-host, yes.
Okay, just watch the screen carefully there. All right, I just did that. Okay, I'm just afraid that's going to happen. All right, let's continue on here. So they call it a queer curriculum and activities. It feels funny saying this, but this is what's happening. And I want you as a parent, you should go to that first parent meeting. You should ask the teachers to tell you what they're teaching. They're bound by law to do that. Ask to see the syllabus, ask for the teaching plan for your student, and question things that are there, even if you can't stop them. You need to know what's coming so you can debrief your children at home. There's other classroom issues in LAUSD, and I guess I found out other school districts too, in Inglewood and Compton. Student absenteeism. I saw that yesterday there was an article that I think it turns out that something like 50,000, which is 15%, 50,000 of LAUSD youth have not shown up for school yet. And that will slow the progression of teaching. They'll hold up and won't start teaching things until they get a little more students there. Well, some schools only had 60% of the students there, so 40% were missing. There's teacher and staff shortages. 13% of the positions are open right now. I think it's 10% of teaching. 13 is the whole staff, is the average among the whole staff. Classroom content is more and more unacceptable. Students were damaged from lack of classroom teaching. Hey, by the way, some of this stuff up here is going on in private school too. Just really, parents, I know it's going to take time from your schedule, but I highly recommend you monitor what's happening in your school, whether it's private or public. They need to feel the accountability to you. Only you can press accountability. And then you want to let me know what you're seeing, because I'm pushing at the highest level on LUSD anyway right now, and next Long Beach, to inform parents better of what's happening. And I got a couple of people working with me on that to put pressure on them. But I need to get examples. I won't put your name in it. I just need to know what's going on in the schools. I hope hearing this has helped you. Please keep me informed what's happening. I'm going to continue. We have much more to cover. Here's some alternatives to traditional public school classroom education, as I promised in the intro. Private, non-religious high school, middle school, but watch the cost, because there's two different types. There's the reasonably cost ones and the high cost ones. I'll give you a list in a minute, okay, of schools I recommend. Religious high schools, home-designed independent study. I'm going to talk about all these. Independent study, which is organization-driven, i.e. the California Virtual Academy, for example. It's driven by organization. You're not really designing it yourself. I'll show you how to design it today, too, so you can decide if you want to design your own. And then, of course, charter schools still pretty reliable. They tend to be independent from traditional high schools, even after being under the thumb of their school districts during the pandemic. EEP can support and coordinate your independent study, home designed independent study. That's what HD is, home designed independent study. And this is probably a little more familiar to you here. You have your student, and there we go. We have two-year college online. We have a thing called byu.edu, student support, and then they can get an associate degree of transfer, ADT. They're all transfer degrees. Then go to an affordable college. So they get all their high school. You might notice in this model here, there's no high school diploma, because here's a little known fact. You can go to four-year school without a high school diploma if you have an AA degree. You can go right on, and I've had students do that. It's not a big deal. But you want to cover the right classes and get the right courses, right? And you want to be able to take the right two-year college class. That's why think you need student support and support for you as you make the decision. That's a viable option. Another option that's more traditional is dual enrollment. You're in your students in a two-year college at the same time they're in high school. We can support both with our traditional homework club, and then they can transfer. But notice it says high school diploma. Okay, you have a high school diploma, and you can get that a variety of ways. You'll have an independent study program with LA Unified, Long Beach Unified, where they'll give them a transcript like a college would expect and everything, right? Even in the high school that they're in, they'll give them a transcript, including the two-year colleges. There's a couple of variations of this. This high school could be an independent study high school in the city. There's a lot of variations, but you get the idea. It's dual enrollment. You enroll in college and high school same time. I have some students that are seniors now that have about 2/3 of the credits for college, and one that's finished their two-year degree during the pandemic while they're in high school. And they can still go on. You still can do that. If you have a ninth grader, you can think about doing some of that. We'll support you on that. I mean, for example, Christina, are you there? Christina?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Christina's
Yes.
gonna send you. Do you want to put that up, or do you want to
Yeah, I'll put it on the chat.
put it in the chat? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, she'll send you some information from one of our partners, Trade Tech, about some classes they have online where they can get college credit. Okay, so you might want to look into that. It starts as low as ninth graders. So anybody who has a ninth grader here, you could certainly do that. Okay. And of course, the affordable four-year colleges. I always say affordable, but this is a dual enrollment model. What about very expensive private high schools? It's totally okay if you feel it's within your budget. I'm not going to get in a position of judging and telling you what to do. I don't really do that. But some of them are very expensive. You can pay up to $45,000 for certain high schools right now for 1 year. You can pay $180,000 to send a student to a 4-year high school. It's quite expensive. Some are 20 and 30. That's pretty expensive to me as well. A lot of parents are taking out loans, and that's before they even get to college. And I guess they're banking on the grades being extremely high. Just watch that very close, parents. I have a lot more to say about that. It's very difficult to get a college academic award from these when you have these kind of high schools because they're very, very competitive. So you could have a student get a 3.2. I see this all the time in one of those high schools, 3.0, which they probably got a 4.0 somewhere else, but that's not what their record indicates, and therefore they don't get any money for college. They don't even have access to the colleges that they expected, given they went to a high school like this. So really, parents, after those first 2 years, you should really determine, is this really a good investment for the very expensive? We're going to talk about less expensive ones in a moment. If you just want to get into a well-known college, there are many other school possibilities. Get this, I have had many students who have gotten into the same well-known colleges from other high schools, other types of high schools. It would surprise you where students have gotten into really good colleges. My last 3 students that went to USC went to non-traditional high schools, did not go to private high schools at all. They just went to one's a charter school, and 2 went to a one to a Christian school, and 2 the Catholic high school. And I tried, there were 5, and 1 from an actual public high school in Long Beach. So and that's a very selective college, and you need to get money to be able to afford it, and they were able to do that. Many high schools do very well when transferring to other high schools. So if you want to think about transferring, it's a good time to think about it. I certainly want to be there to help you if you're going to do that. I seem to get involved with that every year with different families, and it almost always works out. Not saying you should. If you're happy where you are, stay where you are. It's fine. EEP's best reduced cost private high schools. I put best in quotes because it's always subjective. And we like St. Bernard High School. It's ethnically diverse. Actually, it really is leaning more toward Hispanic and Black and Asian. There are some white students there, but it's mostly Hispanic, Black, and some Asian. And that's good. That's a good environment for students. It's more like college. The college they might go to a diverse college. St. Mary's Academy is for young ladies high school. We'll have a representative from St. Mary's, doing a special recruiting call for students very shortly. I think it's going to be the next week or 2. We're trying to stall to see if we can have it for our families at St. Mary's. And that's what the holdup is. Because in our facility, I can't yet schedule that kind of meeting. We will soon, though. Sarah High School, we like that a lot. It's in Gardena. Bishop Montgomery High School in Torrance, a little further away. Students have had great results on our program at all 4 of these high schools. They're almost preferred high schools for us. We have so many students from those. Valley Christian High School is a Protestant high school over here in Cerritos. Okay. Then St. Anthony's High School in Long Beach, from all my Long Beach homies who are watching this video perhaps. How about EEP's best charter high schools? How about that? How about the best charter high schools? Again, best is in quotes, and I'm talking about LA city area high schools, LA County kind of. There's some great charter schools in other places too. These are the ones we have immediate knowledge of. Animal Inglewood, Animal South LA, Animal New West Charter High School. We also like Animal City of Champions. It's not listed here. Best public schools, quotations again, Dorsey High School Magnet, Redondo High School, Union High School, El Segundo High School, Culver City High School, University High School Honors Program. They have 3 different honors programs. Hamilton High School, which has 4 schools in one. You can pick the one you want. Downey High School we like a lot. And of course, Laces, which is over in West LA. Loxa, which is Los Angeles County High School for the Arts. Usually it's LOXA, they put the A on the end, but I put for the arts. You might wonder, how can you get to these schools? Well, as far as LA Unified goes, you can do it easily. They put their choices program online. I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. In fact, here it is now. You can use the LA Unified Enrollment website. You go to this link right here and register and browse for schools. Late applications are being accepted this year through September 30th. So you want to take a look at that. I think it'll be very helpful to you. Just a moment, everyone. I think I had an updated version of the second part. I'm not seeing here. Hold on. Just 1 second. While I go out there and pull the right one in. That's what happens when you okay. Just 1 moment. Okay. Yes, 1 moment. There we go. Okay. So to make sure I have the latest version for you here. And here it is here. That's good. Okay, stand by. Okay. All righty. I believe I had a question in the chat there, do I? Somebody have a question out there for it? Was that us?
Let me double check. Hold on.
Okay.
It was me.
Okay, it was me. Okay.
Oh,
All
I'm
right.
sorry.
Let me go to where it was. I do want to show you. I'll show you that last. That's fine. I didn't have the latest for you here. I could tell. All right, now I get here. Okay, best charter high schools. Again, this is the complete list here. Bailey, I think you have the right one. Okay, in yours, just to let you know. There's the 4 right here again. Animal Inglewood, Animal South LA, Animal City of Champions, and New West Charter. And then Dorsey High School, Redondo Union, El Segundo, Culver City, University High School. Okay, gotta make sure you're all seeing me here. You are. Okay, Hamilton High School, Downey High School, Laces, and LOXA. The Unified Enrollment website is right here. I think you can go right there and I'll show you the website. Oh, can you all see the website? Do we see it there, Bailey?
Say that again, Deacon?
You see the website? Is it
The
showing?
link only.
Is it showing up on the screen? No?
Yes.
No, I just see the link.
Oh, the link is, yes.
Oh, but not the site, right? Stand by. Let me stop it and put it back up. Here we go. All right, now you can see it, right? Somebody help me out. Come on, help me.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, you help me out now. All right, so this is the LA Unified Enrollment website. You can see when you look at it, there's all the different types of high schools here. And you can go in there and you can choose and apply for the high schools. It'll direct you when you open this to set up an account. And you can see that they're taking late choices for the school year. Inter-district permits are the February 1st. That only affects, I think it's only affecting 8th to 9th. But down here are all the different school choices. I think a couple of you already have asked me about this. This is where you apply for the different schools. They will get right back to you because, as you know, they're under enrolled right now. And that's why the late application for choices is available here. I bet you didn't know you can choose a high school that you want in LA Unified. That's because of a vote in our legislature 3 or 4 years ago. I'll spare you the details. Actually, it's about 4 years ago now. LA Unified resisted it for a year. Then 3 years ago, it became law that was enforced before the pandemic. Okay. All righty. Let's get back to the presentation. I believe I'm here. I'm hoping I'm in the right one. Yeah. So that's all about. Register and browse for schools, late applications being accepted. What is the future of college attendance? I thought it was important to give 9th through 11th grade parents a little bit of insight into what we're expecting to see in the future of college attendance. Okay, here are a few view graphs that will help you. Here's the realities of current private college market, of the current market. I called it a market because it is a market. I mean, you're going to be buying a service. Post-pandemic, most private colleges are returning to their high cost model. A lot of speculation was they would change after the pandemic. They'll even be higher net costs now. They're doubling down on it. If you're wondering what I mean by cost model, the model is that they charge high, much higher than state schools. In fact, in the case of California schools, the tuition will be 10 times the cost of a state college. Okay, there's a video on this, and I'll talk about the videos that you can look at for additional information when we get to the end of the presentation. They're returning to this high cost model. It's a high cost model. What happens is when they collect the money, they plow it back into facilities and all these kind of things, building projects and things like that on those campuses. And you have to decide how much of that you're willing to have. Parents still, some public universities are very nice too, by the way, but that's a different story because they cost less. Parents still believe getting admitted to selective, well-known private colleges means the best life success and are often willing to take debts of $80,000 to $300,000 to send their youth to these schools. Note, there is zero political discussion right now of helping parents with this debt, with this loan they have to take out. No one's talking about it. They're only talking about student loans, not parent loans. We find no difference in the futures of our similar performing youth in expensive selective private college and CSU and other public universities. I have students that have come out of CSU, come out of small privates, come out of all different kinds of schools that are successful in life. You'll be surprised. A lot of it is you, the parents. If you're the kind of parent that's in this meeting right now or looking at this video online, you're the kind of parent that the cone of tolerance or the margin for error is very wide for you because you're such a great parent. They're going to go to college and do well and start their lives because of the way you've raised them at home, because of your values. So maybe that's why there's no difference. Realities of the current private college are more realities. Private and public college costs plus the changing STEM needs have resulted in a cheapening of a liberal arts degree. So a liberal arts degree that costs $60,000 to $70,000 because the economy has changed and there's fewer jobs that pay well for liberal arts majors, those changing STEM needs. And the fact that the cost has gone up so fast, right? It unintentionally has cheapened a liberal arts degree. The cost is raised much higher than it's really worth. And that's what I mean by cheapening. Doesn't mean they've changed the quality or lowered the quality. Those programs are still pretty good. But the question is, what does the student need to start their career? While we're on that, let's talk about alternative careers that they could be. I'll talk about that, like coding and digital platforms and Google certifications. We have the LA County digital divide. You'll be hearing more about that very shortly. I hope we finished a beta test where 7 of our students have gone on to the LA County free program and gotten certifications online to learn how to do websites and what they call UI key and website type coding training online. 6 of our students, and we're going to make you aware of that again very soon. We want to see more students getting these kind of skills while they're in high school. Coding and digital, all this stuff they could do, robotics and applied art and animation. EEP advice, you need some high school activities in these areas for your 9th and 10th and maybe even 11th grade parents. We'll be giving you great suggestions in your email very soon. We know we're going to have a robotics session when they can come in and build robots very soon. We're working with one of our key partners, Audrey Thompson, on that right now. We hope that when you see these programs, you'll sign your youth up for it. Both ladies and gentlemen, young ladies and young men should do these. I think it's important to have some experience and know about these possibly high-paying jobs in the future. What about public university in California? Now, I'm going to admit to you, I talk only about CSU here. I didn't cover UC since they're research schools and only and fewer students are actually eligible. But I will eventually have a meeting with you where you can learn about that. My next meeting, I'll cover it more. California State University, CSU, will be affordable for you even with moderate grades, even when your student has moderate grades. Okay. Note, we do have a college cost problem. I'm sorry, let me just take out the word not. We do not have a college cost program with CSU. That's what that should read there. And I'm saying here, really? Well, if they go local to a CSU, it's almost nothing out of pocket. It's about $200 a month. Of course, there is a $5,500 student loan that they'll have. When they leave college, they'll have a loan that about $15,000 to $16,000 or about $200 per month on their loan. We think that's reasonable. If they get a job, they can pay it off pretty soon. It's the parent loan you want to avoid, parents. That's the one you want to avoid that could be very high. The students would commute to school under this arrangement as well. But if you decide to send them to a CSU campus, even if you do that, it's $14,000 to $17,000, which is far lower than $40,000 and $50,000 and $60,000 a year for school. That would be the parent cost. In fall 2022, in case you're wondering about the data is incomplete. Last year we had 47%, but 52% so far of our students, which is a record, went to CSU this past year. We don't that could be coming out of the pandemic and all that. A lot of it just might be they looked at the cost of it too as well. All right, parents, as a career development director of their youth, because that's the way we view you. You're a career director. Let me show you some things about that. It's a fairly extensive portion of the meeting. It'll go really fast, but I think it's very worthwhile for you as a 9th to 11th grade parent, and hints at what we're going to do to help. Have a career plan for using using the college that is chosen. So the colleges that I thought it was important to kind of put you in 12th grade in a way already, parents, so you can see what it will be like in 12th. My 11th grade parents should be very interested in this. 10th should be quite interested too, and even 9th, to how we view it college once they're in 12th grade. Except for engineering, please do not encourage your student to be rigid about their major, okay? It's no longer an important consideration when picking a college. It is just not important to major in the same thing you work in. Students are going to change anyway, and they're going to get jobs related to the major if everything goes right. I'll show you a view graph on bachelor arts degrees in a minute. Picking a major is listen to this, it's a strategic, budgetary, career and life decision, and not even mostly an academics decision anymore. Sometimes parents feel it's academic. What's the best academics? No, it's strategic, budgetary, career and life. That's what a major should be about. Okay. One clue. Listen, you want to help your students on this, right? Because they'll say they want a certain major, and then when another college comes up, they want a different major. One clue that your student is not thinking enough about career is that him or her is thinking about the city, the type of school, and the social media considerations. Or what would look like on my social media. So much that he or she wants to change their major depending on what the college offers. That's not really what I mean by strategic, right? We want to match it up by what things that are interesting that the student can do well and is interested in changing in the world. We'll talk a lot more about career development with 9th and 10th graders than we ever have before, coming up in the next year or two here. We've already begun some of that this summer for people who are in the summer program. That's we asked Yara to start doing beta testing on trips to different places and start the students thinking about their careers. That's what you saw us doing in the summer. I think 2 or 3 of you here today that saw we were doing on that. Here's some bachelor's of arts degrees that work best. Communications, a BA in psychology, a BA in sociology, business administration, and marketing. I've surveyed or looked at my students the last 3 or 4 years, and you might wonder where they're going, and I'll certainly show you a view graph on that. Nearly all colleges have these degrees and can do them well. It doesn't take a lot of money. It takes a lot of professors who are experienced. This is an area where I prefer CSU to UC because the teacher they get will probably be doing it in his or her career. Whereas in UC, it's going to be research related. And remember, they only have 1/3 the majors of CSU. Alternate skills and experience, right? Nonprofit office work, certifications in computer and media tech. This is a big place where my students land. Common career skills acquired in the classroom when they're taking these majors. Look at the kind of skills they pick up. Written communication, teamwork, working in a group, oral communication, web development, and social media and marketing when you do these kind of majors, okay? That's a kind of a common theme between those. These are all very useful. I find those BA degrees extremely functional for that reason. Here's a major to career job map example of what we've seen in our program. There's your communications, biology. I added biology here, right? BA in biology / chemistry, business administration, sociology. We're going to talk about the STEM ones in a minute, don't worry. Not social work, it's sociology. And the BA in business marketing and BA psychology. Let's see where they've gone. I've had sociology degree students and psychology students. These are your strategic planners and companies. But also they go into drug counseling, marriage and family counseling, city and county recreation, and college admission administrative staff. Those are the kind of jobs they've gotten. My BAs in psychology and marketing and my communications, they get into nonprofit office administration, social media direction, public relations, assistant communications directors in a small company, right? Assistant marketing director also, human resources and strategic planning. Then of course the BA in biology and chemistry, teacher, researcher, health science professional, pharmacist, nursing, and they go back to medical school a lot of times because they might have taken the classes they needed to pass the MCAT while they had the BA in biology. This just wanted to give you an idea of how a bachelor arts degree should be used to work career, how they can be used to work career, not just to say, hey, we have a degree. I'm helping a lot of my recent graduates with that right now. We have a lot of alumni support services for our students, and we have employers that are interested in our students for the first time. We're excited about that. But these are the kind of jobs that they'll be looking at to start their careers. BA degrees that don't work as well. Anything that's blank studies as a single degree is very difficult. You'll have to have other career plans or immediate work that you have in mind. It's not the final plan for your career a lot of times, although it could be. You're probably not related directly to the actual thing, because sometimes the disciplines to get these majors prepare you very well for a job. But Latin studies, in fact, Howard University shocked the world by dropping their Black Studies curriculum. Well, Black Studies degree, but they have a Black Studies curriculum. A couple other schools have dropped their studies degrees, but kept their departments very vibrant and open because they want the students to major in something else along with it or have a plan for their careers. Gender studies, women's studies, these are all the types of things. So sometimes you got to think strategically to get your career going. Just think strategically. That's how you do it. Degrees like this are mission majors, not career majors. Sometimes employers can take them and put them to use, but other times it'll be something not related because you have other great qualities that employers need. The students may have that. Alternate skills and experience, nonprofit offices. Common knowledge acquired in classroom are typically going to be related to this, though. These types of things are going to be some of the things acquired for those specific majors. But there's other things the students might have planned for their future career that this goes very well with. I had a couple of students that did Black Studies that one that did Black Studies, One person did Black Studies and is in medical school right now. So they took the classes they needed for the MCAT. They waited a year and then they've gone on to medical school. Yeah, you think that you have to major biology to go to medical school, but you'll see in a moment that's not true. And by the way, beware in your students and warn your students about passion versus career. You know, social justice is a very important thing. It's probably a passion, but not a career. These are not careers with financial sustainable jobs with inflation. Gosh, I put with inflation before we really had it. It will take $35,000 to $50,000 per year with a roommate. It's important to care about these issues. These issues are very, very important, right? But the student probably should care about them the rest of their lives. Activist jobs do not pay a lot, so they go along well with other careers. like if you're a teacher and you do it, or you're going to medical school, those are just fine. Because remember, passion in general is great. I never want a student to throw away their passion. Just want to get some other things with them that they can market and sell. How about a minor or co-curricular studies, even a known or other career objective? I already talked about that. Education, enrichment, activism, I called that at the time. There's a reason why I did that. Performing arts passions, right? If you have a passion for performing arts, this is a good example of a passion your students should keep, but the odds are it will not be a life-sustaining career. And if it is, great, but they're gonna probably need to do some other things too. Generally, a performing arts major is already active if they will be financially successful. Yes, I've had some students that are having great careers in performing arts right now. They're doing very well, but it was very evident they were already active in it. So I just said, why are you bothering to go to college right now? They went later. Just start your career. You're great. I've had a couple of actors and actresses that way. I think they should start. If they're already that way, they can go to school while they're doing it. So remember, the idea is to get a career that will support themselves so they can support themselves. The idea isn't just to have a degree to have a degree. And I'm counseling with a lot of those who are actors and actresses, dancers, all that kind of stuff. But you know by now, like they're a 10th, 11th grader, they're already great. You know already that you have to allow them, that could be a professional skill for them. What job will I do as a music? Here's a good thing to ask yourself. What job will I get or do with a music or a theater performance degree? What will I have to do to get the big time performance job? How about performing arts as a minor and great functional BA degree? How about a teaching credential to go with that? These are all thoughts that one could have in developing their careers. I say the same thing to athletes, right? Same thing. We'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, here it is here. Beware of the passion versus career. Some of your students might be involved in athletics or interested in athletics. There's nothing wrong with athletics. There's some great things. I was just talking to a student this afternoon about that. Athletics is a great place to develop the attitude that when you fall, you get back up, determination, teamwork. It's very, very indispensable. It's a great passion to have, actually. But let's look at the reality of things and understand, what's going to happen most likely. Young men playing in high school, the odds of making any college roster, baseball 8-1, odds against, I guess. Well, 8-1 odds that they won't. 18-1, football 11-1, you get the idea. Odds of making a Division I roster, 116-1 for basketball, 36-1 for football. You see the rest of these numbers going across here. Young women playing in high school, 11-1 for softball, 15-1, 17-1. Odds are really against them. Doesn't mean they can't do it. They can go to college. They can play in a mural and try to break in on the team. They can do all that kind of stuff. But these are passions, right? They'll need to have a career also in mind. The odds of making a Division I roster you see down here, and I didn't even put professional, did I? Let's look at that a little bit here. Baseball, approximate number draft eligible, draft picks, number drafted, major NCAA 9.9%. Baseball is pretty good, right? But then some of these other ones, look at them. Men's basketball, 1.2%. Women's basketball, 0.8%. Football, 1.6%. Ice hockey, 7.4%. Right? So we want to be aware of this. And when our students are, spending a lot of time with athletics, that's fine for high school. But let's keep it real when we're picking our colleges. Let's pick colleges they can play at, colleges they can develop a career at, colleges where they can do both at. Don't worry, when they become seniors, I'll spend some time with them and definitely help with that. Okay? If the link needs permission, we'll open up that permission for you right at the end of the meeting, Sister Davin. Okay, I thought I did. Okay, I will open that up for you. Here's the top 2-year college career start training. Certified nursing assistant, air conditioning, plumbing, electrical. These are all viable fields that students can do while they're taking their 4-year college. They can develop other skills. We call these parallel career paths. So they can develop ways of making money while they're in college. And when they graduate with that degree, have additional skills. That's another way you can have a liberal arts degree and still parlay it into a great career, because you're over here doing with other skills that you're using on jobs while you're in college. You might notice with nursing, I always tell people who want to do nursing, just go be a nurse. There's a shortage of CNAs. It's pretty easy to get the CNA. I will say something about that in a minute. You got any questions, put them in the chat or just feel free to ask me. It's important to develop your career while in college. Don't put that on the college. Don't say, well, when they're finished a 4-year, they'll have a degree. Encourage your students to do these kind of things back here. We had on earlier view graphs too, while they're in college to develop their career. And so the college experience is richer and fuller. So they can enter college. They go to 1-year college, 2-year college, up to year 2-year college, 1st year of college, 2nd year of college, 3rd year of college, 4th year of college, and they start their career. Well, they used to be that way, but now here's what we're finding. We're finding that they have to do additional things to become marketable. On-campus work. Again, parents, I thought it was important to tell my 9th, 10th, and 11th grade parents the kind of things that are in the future, the way I want you to think about it as a career, as your child's career development manager, more or less. The kinds of things. I don't have to do all these things. I'm just giving you ideas. There's going to be, at the time they go to college, on-campus work, general employment and entrepreneurial related work, campus leadership, parallel tech certifications. And we have some West Aid programs we're going to start with our high school kids you'll hear about, and of course, 2-year college. In the summers even, summers can be a time where students develop these skills as well. If the student wants to go into veterinarian and animal care, I hear that a lot. While they're in college, no problem. Zoo volunteer, pet store worker, city animal shelter volunteer worker, private animal shelter worker, and there's parallel technical training certifications if they want to do that. Again, trying to stir up some of the things you can help your students with. And we call us up or get a hold of us. This strikes a chord here. I thought I'd show you a bunch of these. I have about 10 others of these too. I picked these out for today. These are the ones I hear the most from students. Filmmaking and videography, another major where the students in a meeting with me for college, they say they're interested in making a film, making films, or being a film director or whatever. I always say, well, go make a film. There's so many ways to publish films. You can do videos on YouTube and Spotify and iTunes, and there's so many ways they can do short films and get that experience. I said I would never do this kind of thing, but that's what I'm doing. I have a video channel now. This is video content, as a matter of fact. So you can see the kind of things they can do here. Online and podcast video development. Nonprofit companies are looking for people to help with that. Filmmaking certifications for West LA and LA City College. Website training and parallel tech certification. You get certifications in video development and direction. Okay? West LA and LA City are the best. And again, you're using those summers, right? To get that kind of extra training. You can start now with that, parents. No problem. Any of this can start while they're in high school. Just get a hold of me. I'll show you how to do it. Health workers, if they want to go into health work, whether it be a doctor, I'm thinking about a sports trainer here, but I just put health worker. Health clinic volunteers, CNA training program. There's that CNA again. It's usually a summer or two from a 2-year college. EMT, they can learn how to jump out of an ambulance. Starting at the age of 18, they can do that. University assistant sports trainer. These are all the kinds of things that they can put on their resume to become a sports trainer. And remember, they're still getting a 4-year degree. Remember, these are all just parallel things they do, parents. First responders, a lot of them need degrees now. Firefighters, police, deputy, FBI, CIA, Homeland Security, all that kind of stuff. They can become a community services officer, police cadet. There's a lot of physical conditioning they need to be doing. Neighborhood ride-alongs with the police, things like that. These are things they can do while they're in college, or even when they're in college. They can go to that local police department and do ride-alongs and learn the profession. This is all great stuff to put on a resume. The fire department has things like that too, by the way. If they're interested, I know I have firefighter up there. Yes, more and more of these police department positions are requiring a 4-year degree. So there's your 4-year degree on top. and the stuff you do in parallel with that to strengthen your resume. You want to be a teacher or education counselor? No problem. You can get a credential while getting your 4-year degree. In CSU, you can get your credential in the 3rd and 4th year of your degree. You can have a teaching credential and a degree. You can TA in the summer. You can work with me in the summer for our enrichment program. Students have done that. That's where I get my teachers from. They learn over 2 or 3 summers, and they're taught by a senior instructor, and they learn how to teach. That's a great thing to put on their resume. Students have done that with me and gone on to teach all the different levels up to college. They became college teachers. A BA degree in science or applied math, okay? That's something to think about. And then private high school TA is another type of position. There's teacher shortages in science and math. I think you know that. Let's see, what else do we have here? It's also important to get college credits in general while you're in high school. So we recommend general education courses while they're in high school. They should be doing that in parallel to get college credit. We talked about that earlier. In fact, she's going to send you a link if she hasn't already on the trade tech program, which they have a great program you might want to put your student in. They have online and in-person classes, by the way. 2-year, here's some general ed courses I recommend that students think about taking, okay? Intro to Communications to Speech, American History, Art, Music, Sociology, Introduction to Anthropology, Political Science, World Civilization, and even Intermediate Algebra to strengthen their algebra skills. These are all courses you can get college credit for that are transferable to CSU and UC and private schools, okay, while they're in high school. Here's how most people think, we're almost done, how a student can become a nurse. This is what most people think. This is what people will tell you too. Graduate high school, take the first 2 years of college in pre-nursing. You apply for the nursing program, but you need to have a 3.6 in science and math. And then you can get into the nursing school, perhaps, of the college. If you don't have a 3.6, you don't get into the nursing program, or you stay at college till you get it. That's what most people think needs to happen. That's one of the reasons we have a shortage of nurses. Then you go to your full-time nursing job. But there's an alternate way. I want you to think about there's 2 other ways, at least maybe more, of becoming an RN. Graduate high school, 4-year to college, but you get a health science degree. You get your RNA licensing exam, but there are other possible degrees you could have. BA in biology, BA in health science, BS health policy. You could take that licensing exam because you were a CNA while you were in high school. You got a part-time nursing job, CNA through LVN. And so then you got to that point where you can get a full-time nursing job. I didn't put an arrow there. Once you got your RNA licensing, you have all that experience. You've had real experience at that point. Notice I say here, you go to 2-year college for one of our partners, H&R Healthcare, during the summers of year 0 and 1, I call it. But you can do it after the 1st and 2nd year. You don't have to do that. You'll at least have a CNA when you take that RNA exam, RN exam, RNA, I don't know why I did that. Registered nursing, it should be, okay? Here's another way to become a nurse through one of our partners. Graduate high school, you go to Charles Drew University for their 3-year registered nursing program. It's only 3 years, and you become a registered nurse. You do your clinicals, they'll get you in somewhere, and you take the RNA licensing exam, and you have a full-time nursing job. And this is for people who want to save lots of money and lots of time. And I know people say, well, I wanted to have the college experience. That's fine. Well, this method is not for you. This is a very cost-effective method because our partner gives scholarships for our students. And it's not that costly anyway. It's a very affordable private college. It's right here in LA. It is predominantly minority, but it's well run, extremely well run school and well operated. It's a 3-year nursing program. Okay. Oops.
Deacon, did you mention H&R?
Yeah, I mentioned H&R Healthcare on the last
Okay,
on this view graph right back here. Very subtle down here. They graduate high school, they got H&R Healthcare. We've sent 3
Perfect.
students through there already, you know, and they're CNA. It's only $1,400. You could do 2-year college. It just takes a little longer. Definitely, parents, do not send your students to a for-profit school to do that. Do not do that. That's not a good idea. They could charge you up to $20,000. It's totally a ripoff. But think about H&R Healthcare. They're great. This is the other way to become a nurse through Charles Drew. Now, here's a doctor's career plan with 4-year college. If you want to be a doctor, your student wants to be a doctor, parents, I want you to think about these few graphs here. Experience-based career starts, that's what I call this, high school student. And it's applies to a doctor or a veterinarian. They have the same path. You could go to a 4-year college and have a BA degree in biology, chemistry, psychology, public health, health science, all of those. But then you take the classes one needs to study for the MCAT, which is the medical exam. That would be biology, biology 2, biochemistry, chemistry, organic chemistry, calculus 1, and calculus 2 sometimes. Depends on the way they advise you in the program. You can actually pass the MCAT with just calculus. MCAT prep and test, and then you can go to medical school. Of course, a lot of students will take some of these classes postgraduate. There are some great postgraduate programs or sometimes 2-year colleges that offer some of these classes if you don't get to take them in your 4-year college when you get your degree, okay? And then you become a practicing doctor. It includes sports training and physical therapists. By those students don't understand, they want to work with athletes. They might be an athlete themselves, so they want to get into sports training and physical therapists. You're really becoming a doctor ultimately to do that, and it means all the same things we're saying here. That's why I recommend sometimes to go like to Charles Drew, get a physician's assistant degree first, and get to work with athletes, and then get your doctorate degree later. Again, they can talk to me about that. I know a lot about who to get them in touch with at Charles Drew anyway. Here are 2 paths for doctors. I used to call them, story of 2 doctors, but you get the idea in a minute. You could have post-grad prep for 1 and 2 years. You go to CSU, you graduate, and that was local, so it was reduced cost. You take postgraduate prep for 1 or 2 years. You go to 2-year college, right, to get that post-grad prep, right? You go to medical school for 3 or 4 years. Go to Charles Drew, that would be great. Kaiser has a similar program to Charles Drew now. You get your first MD job, they'll cost you about $67,000. That seems like a lot of money until you see path 2. Or you could not know about any of this I've said today. Take a private undergraduate school, which you know how much they cost, or like an out-of-state school like Arizona State will be $160,000. Private or UC postgraduate school, you can go to a private medical school. First full-time medical job, it costs you $430,000 to get your degree. And I have students that have gone both ways, and they have the same job in the same hospital. I had that happen. So it's very important how you go on this development of your medical career, where you'll take the debt, what schools you'll pick, and then it becomes important not to pick only by the name. You're just trying to get the degree and the experience. All right, that's all I had for the day. I thought I would cover a few careers. I thought that would be helpful to you today. If there's any questions, let's see, I did say one thing. Let me go back. Sorry about that, and show you one thing I promised to show, I believe. I'll do that right now. Oops, hold on here. Let's go back up here, I think. Yeah, right here, I wanted to show you. Let me reshare it, okay? I think I got knocked off the air there. Yeah, I did. Here's some videos that will help you with today, I think, on our YouTube channel. And I remind you, you can get to our YouTube channel by going to our website, which is, we put it up there for them in the chat, would you? www.westa-eep.org. She'll put it up. If you click on that link and go to our website, right, and click the right arrow on the banner till you get to our YouTube channel and click and go in. Or you just can go to these links that I'm going to show you here. I have a video on what do I do about private colleges that I cannot afford. I have one on major college affordability mistakes and one on our upcoming DC college tour of GW and Howard. You can look those up. If you want, just email me and I'll send you the video links and any information that you'd like to see about these. You certainly can do that. If you get the presentation itself, you just click on the link and you can go to the videos very easily. You can see they come up right
I'm
here.
tired of having too much money
can see the
to
video.
actually qualify.
Didn't actually come up, but you get the idea. Okay. All right. So what I think I need to do is check my email for a moment and make sure I open up. When you email me, I'll just go to my email, Sister Devin, and I'll open up that link for you so you'll have the presentation. That's true for all of you. Just click on that link right now and it will send me an email and I'll open up the share setting. I thought I did already, but evidently it's not as easy as you think. I can't minimize right now. Are there any questions that you have? I know I threw a lot of information out there.